Okay.
Sorry, I just want to say I'm going to have to leave at 11:30, so I'll just nip off.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. That's okay.
I might have to leave early as well, so
Okay.
probably around the same time.
Would you like to share a PowerPoint or something like that, or it's just
I haven't actually got a PowerPoint. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, I'm just me.
That's good.
I'll have to get used to doing things like that, won't I? Okay, so I'm Hannah Nichols, and I run a bushcraft company actually, and I've been teaching outdoor skills for 18 years. And I am also a therapist. I teach, so I am a reflexologist, and I do Reiki, and more recently the nature connected coaching and MBIT coaching. So my background, so I'm in Canterbury. I'm not sure if I said that, sorry, but I'm just outside Canterbury, and I run my bushcraft courses in a woodland just outside Canterbury, and I also do my nature connected coaching outside Canterbury in various places, various beautiful places. So just saying a little bit about myself, I grew up in a small holding in Suffolk, so we had a very outdoor lifestyle with lots of land to roam in, and we always had to be part of looking after all the animals, and being involved in the gardening, etc. So that was my upbringing, very much immersed in nature. And when I was in my early 20s, late 20s, when I had 3 children, I went off to spend a year in the Daintree rainforest in far north Queensland, Australia. And that again was, in another huge, very different immersion into nature. A bit scary at times, quite wild, and learning all about the very dangerous things that live out there. So it's a very different way of living. But after sort of adapting, I absolutely loved it, and felt the benefit of living up close and personal with nature. And after a year, I came back to England, and was looking for something else, feeling a little bit lost, living back in a house, because I wasn't living in a house over there. And I was given a book by a man called Tom Brown. And this book was about a Apache who called Stalking Wolf. And that book led me on this journey of sort of working with nature and teaching people about earth-based living skills, bushcraft survival skills, and the therapeutic side of nature, and how it has such a healing effect on us, just spending time outdoors, the huge benefits. More recently, I did the MBIT coaching with Liz Hartley, and so when I started to practice, it just, for me, it was made far more sense for me to be doing my coaching outside, because that's what I do. That's who I am, really. So I've I found a course about nature connected coaching, and so I have now combined the two. I do nature connected coaching with my MBIT coaching. Have you all heard of MBIT coaching? I'm sure Liz has spoken about that. It's multi-brain. Yes, I think a lot of you know Liz. Wasn't she part of running the Folkestone group? I mean, the Canterbury group. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's coaching our 3 brains: the head, heart, and gut. But I expect you'll hear more about that from Liz at some point. So for me, I do my coaching, my nature connected coaching with my MBIT coaching, and this can be outdoors, go for a walk, maybe in a woodland, maybe by the river, or I have a space in my woodland where I can run my coaching sessions by a campfire. So it could be sitting by the campfire. So let me just, just wanted to read some things about the benefits of nature connection. So just nature connection in itself, it reduces anxiety and depression. It decreases mental fatigue. It increases problem solving and creativity mental functions. It creates both calmness and alertness at the same time. It can improve your mood and socialization. You may find that you become kinder to others and behaving in more generous ways. And it creates a sense of awe, which connects us all to each other. I mean, I'm a great believer that we are all connected, and we're all connected to nature. And the fact that when you are in nature, that we're often receiving messages from nature. All the time we're receiving messages. And so that is how I use my coaching together with the MBIT coaching. I might, if we're walking down a path and the path divides, we might stop and reflect on which choice you're going to make, of which path you're going to go down, and how do each of those feel? What do you think about each pathway? You know, and tapping into your intuition of which way is the right way, and how you can reflect that to your present life issues or whatever you're working on for the coaching session. It could be a bird flying overhead, and what does that bird represent? And tapping into maybe the wisdom from that bird. How does we're with MBIT coaching, we're communicating with the head and the heart and the gut. So I might be asking some heart questions about that bird and how that is, what message is that bird bringing to you right now? So with the coaching, we're in all of our senses. So I might be doing some exercises where we're just stopping and coming into presence by tuning in to each one of our senses. Feeling the temperature on our skin. Listening to all the sounds, being aware of smells or maybe even tastes in the air. And obviously seeing and looking at in great detail at things as well, because we miss so much. We could be looking at a tree, but actually if we just stop and really look, we realize how much that how much we miss when we're observing something. So I just so with Nature Connecting Coaching, we're inviting the client to seek out nature for answers that are arising within them. And then I just wanted to talk about what other people who've come for Nature Connected Coaching have said. And one woman said that she felt a greater sense of ease. Well, actually, it wasn't just one. It was a few people have said this, that they actually felt by being in nature, they just were feeling more at ease, more free to be open. Didn't feel so much on the spot, they said. The fact that we were able to walk side by side each other. Yeah, so another woman said she felt free to say things that she wouldn't have shared if she was sitting opposite me in a room. And another lady said that how the sky represented freedom and eternity, and the birds liberty, which felt like a message for her to strive for her own liberty. Just aware of how much time I've got, but would like to do a little exercise with you, if that's okay. Just one of the things that I might do with my coaching clients.
Okay,
So
you can
if
do
you
it.
have, sorry?
Yeah, that's okay. You can do it.
That's okay, we've got time.
Yes, we
Okay,
have time.
so if you have maybe, if you can look out of, position yourself so you can look out of a window or look at a plant maybe, just anything that represents nature. I know we are all nature. And I would like you just to close your eyes and take some nice breaths into your belly, expanding your belly on the in-breath. Just letting go of any tension on the out-breath. Let's take some nice deep breaths, 2 or 3 breaths, just relaxing and calming our body and our minds. And now I'd like you just to be aware of the air meeting your skin. The air just touching your skin. Outside you might be feeling the sun, or you might be feeling the rain or the wind. But in the indoors here, what temperature can you feel? And is it different on different parts of your body, maybe your hands or your feet? Just welcoming that sensation as the air touches your skin. And now bring your awareness to any smells. And just take a breath in through your mouth. And is there any tastes in the air? Tastes in the room? And now bring your awareness to your hearing. What sounds can you hear? And what's the furthest sound that you can hear? And as you listen for the furthest sound, which might be outside your house, just become aware of how your energy field expands to reach that sound. And now listen for any close sounds, the closest sound, and how your energy fields contracts again to listen for that sound, that closest sound. And now just gently open your eyes and looking out of the window. And what do you notice? What shapes do you notice? What colours? Shadows? Are there any clouds in the sky? Any birds flying overhead? Just allow yourself to feel appreciation for nature as you take this time to just observe it. And now just gently bringing yourself back to the meeting. And do any of you feel any different from just doing that little exercise?
Yeah, I feel calmer.
Anybody else feel calm?
Yeah.
Yes.
But using the senses, raising awareness of the senses that way is encouraging embodiment, isn't it? So you're more present in your body.
Yes.
By noticing
Yes.
what you see and smell and taste and hear. All of that brings you into your body, actually, even though you're concentrating on what's outside your body. Quite interesting.
Yes, it does. And yes, it brings you back, as I call, bringing you into that present moment, and being aware of everything around you. Actually makes you far more aware of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. How often do we actually stop and use all our senses? We rely very much on our eyesight, when actually our senses tell us a lot about ourselves, what's going on with our body, but also what's going on in our immediate environment. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I try to imagine myself in the woods because inside it's difficult to taste the air, to feel the air. I feel normal inside the house. Normal in the sense that I don't have wind. I don't feel in my skin the air. But outside, I would definitely feel. So inside is more difficult. But I try to imagine myself outside the house.
Yeah. And this practice, I recommend it to everybody, but I do recommend to my clients to do this on a regular basis, to take themselves outside and just spend time sitting in nature. It could be just, sitting on your back doorstep if you haven't got anywhere, but somewhere that you can go to easily and quickly, so you can just do this on a daily basis. And it has huge benefits, just spending time being in nature and tuning into all your senses.
I've done that this year more than many a past year, because we've had some forced idleness, haven't we? So my garden, I've spent lots of time in my garden this year, and it's been prettier this year than it has been, than I've had time to make it. But I've really, really appreciated just the sitting in my garden. I already have so much less time to do that. As we've come out of lockdown, my practice has picked up again and has got busier than ever. And I'm already seeing the fact that I'm not outside in the garden every day. I can't, I haven't got time. It's a problem.
Could you do a couple of minutes, if you just said every morning when you got up?
But usually I have to go out there because I have to water the flowers, or I have to do a bit of work in the garden. But I have so much less time just to sit and stare and contemplate. And I know I should try and make that time. But there's less daylight already. So I was out at 4 o'clock in the morning in the summer, which was an absolute delight. And of course it's still pitch black now at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
I actually do this in the morning in the dark. In the winter, I usually go outside, and it's lovely being outside at that time of day when the world is still asleep and just sitting.
I did the same. Linda, could you not use it as a transition between clients? You just went and walked around your garden.
Yeah, and sometimes I do. But I just find that I am suddenly so much busier, I have to consciously think of doing it instead of it just feeling that there's time to do it. as the day builds up, I feel I don't have time. I notice the difference in my attitude to that.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think it's definitely more practice now we've come out of lockdown.
Maybe Linda doing it just indoors then, like we've just done.
Yeah,
You know, would you have a?
I
Would you have
do.
a
I
minute
stand
to
and
do
stare
that?
out the window as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's so nice to get the sun on your body.
it is.
When
And the
it's not
wind.
baking hot, just to feel that and to feel the air is nice.
The one good
Absolutely.
thing from lockdown is I still go for a walk every single morning. I've realised I sort of go for a power walk and I have my earphones in. So I'm thinking maybe this is not, it would be better if I didn't listen to music blasted so I'm like walking faster, that I did just maybe take it in a bit more.
Yeah, listen to the sounds of nature. Yeah.
And I'm right by the beach, so obviously I've got the waves and everything, and I'm
Oh wow.
just not picking
Yeah.
any of that up because I've got headphones in. But I'll do that tomorrow. I'll go out without any headphones tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let us know if it's better. Because it might be. The sounds of the waves are so calming and so beautiful.
They are.
Yeah.
What a beautiful. I mean, to do coaching by the beach, I think would be incredible. Actually.
Could be.
So do you meet
be.
your
I might
clients
do
then in the woodland, Hannah? Do you meet your clients in the wood?
I do. I meet them. Yes, I meet them in the woods, and I have an area where it's just my area, so there wouldn't be anybody else coming through.
Right.
Yeah.
How long's a session usually?
It's usually about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to say, MBIC coaching sessions are about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So,
Right. So don't you use a few gadgets with MBIT? Doesn't she have a resonance? In other words?
she uses the, yeah, there is, if I was indoors, then I would be using the, I forgot what it's called. It's, why can't I remember what it's called? Yeah, it's a little gadget to check the heart coherence.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
but there are other ways of checking in with that as well. It's not everybody has that little gadget with MBIT coaching. Some do, some don't.
Okay.
So, and I also find that some clients are not happy to use it, so you have to have other ways of checking in the heart coherence. But being in nature and connecting with your senses and connecting with gratitude, it does bring you into heart coherence too. So
Gratitude,
that's the way I
yeah,
use it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can feel the change in your body when you go through a gratitude exercise. Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm.
So I actually find that quite a few clients say to me they don't want to use that. So, especially being outdoors, it's not possible.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, interesting. Mm. Any more questions?
Are you on Instagram?
I should be, shouldn't I? I should go. Yes, I know. I'm not very good with all this social media. I am on Instagram, and I'll probably start doing more and more on there. But I'm on Facebook.
Have a website?
Link. Yeah, naturalpathways.co.uk, which is also my bushcraft website. But there's a page for Nature Connected Coaching, and I also do a Nature Awareness Day, which is all about connecting with nature, beautiful nature, gentle nature exercises, meditations. Yeah, and that I lead in the woods as well.
Lovely. Sounds like you very nearly live in the woods, Hannah.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah, yeah. Can I post that? Can I post one of the Nature Awareness Day on the Facebook page? Is that possible?
Yeah, on the public group, absolutely you can.
On the public group. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fascinating. So, Anna,
I was about to talk to. So, any other questions to Hannah, or can we go to breakout rooms and network a little bit? Yeah? No more questions?
Yeah.
You're muted.
Oh, yeah. Claire.
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now.
Good Lord. I thought I was being unusually quiet. Because of my dog barking. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem of seeing your clients on the internet, but Digby's contribution is he barks.
Yeah, my dog does the same because he can hear the voices.
Yes, and I think he gets jealous that I'm concentrating on talking to a client, and I think that's what's going on. So I put him in the garden and let him bark.
Find the conversation, obviously.
Yes, yes. Well, he's my sidekick, you see.
Yeah. My nephew is she doesn't bark that much, fortunately. She's on the floor behind me. I get her snoring. That's what I get, more than barking. You hear this very strange sound coming from the dog.
Do you have any questions, Claire?
No, it's just been lovely because I've, thinking about, because as I said, during lockdown, I'm in this little house and I've got this beautiful garden here. So I've been really lucky. I've been out in the garden for the whole of lockdown because I've been in proper lockdown here because I'm absolutely paranoid and terrified about this whole thing. And I personally don't think I'm going to have people coming to my office for the foreseeable future. I don't know how other people are feeling.
No, I'm not changing back from being online.
Great, good. Because I don't want to take their temperatures. I don't want to know, it just feels wrong, doesn't it? I just feel vulnerable.
Half of what we do is reading people's faces, and if you've got masks on and you have to because you're sitting at the other side of a desk from each other, then you're missing so much communication. I think it's how can you get people to be intimate and form a bond with you when you're both masked up? It's just bizarre.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I've gone back face to face from the 1st of September.
Right.
And have got a COVID protocol in place that involves them not touching anything from the front gate. So they wait outside the front gate, they come in without touching anything, they sit on a chair that I can clean down. No masks, but we can maintain over 2 meters distance in my room.
Right, yeah, see, I can't do that.
Yeah, so I've started to do that because I find even Zoom reduces some communication, and because I have been in such deep trauma, I need them in the room at some point. We can start on Zoom quite often. So I've made that decision to do that, and it's working quite well so far. Everybody is adhering to it. I've not had any problems. It asks them not to come if they've got any symptoms or they've tested positively, obviously, and everybody is adhering to that. So yeah, that's me back to face, but I've still got some clients on Zoom who prefer to work that way.
But Linda, you're much more organised than I am in many ways. Come on, Linda. I couldn't organise that if you put a gun to my head. I mean, Claire we're talking about here. So that's why I'm staying on the internet.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't remember what you've told me to do. It just is too much for chaotic me.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to share the protocol that I've written is on my website. If you want to go and have a look at it, it's up there because obviously I'm telling clients that I'm back face to face, but you need to design it for your own home if you wanted to do that. If you still need to isolate, then obviously everybody's got to make decisions that's best for themselves.
Look, the kids
you're comfortable with.
Okay, all the kids have gone back to school, right? So those of us who are grandparents, the kids are going to come home from school this afternoon. I haven't got a crystal ball. I don't know what this is going. Ashford and has got a very high rate. We've got one of the highest rates. So we don't know. I mean, the point is we don't know.
We don't.
The government beyond useless.
I like it for the flexibility as well. I don't need to be in one place to do my work anymore.
Well, and there is that, and also you have a much wider geographical area on Zoom. I've now got a client starting with me next week who's from Scotland.
Good Lord.
So,
Oh.
and that's happened in lockdown because people are searching across a wider area to find the therapist they feel they want. So I'm not knocking Zoom one bit. You know, it's enabled me to continue working, all right, at a reduced level, but I kept working through lockdown. Now it's gone balmy because I've got so many people getting in touch at the moment. So I've actually had to start up a waiting list because it's gone that busy. So but I'm managing that because I manage how many clients I see a week. I don't see clients all day long. I would end up in a loony bin, I think. But so you have to do what's best for you. Work out what you're comfortable with, you know, what you feel safe with, and knowing how you react, Claire, to this, then you're best working on Zoom. But it's perfectly possible to work on Zoom now, and the whole world has accepted Zoom as a bona fide way of working, and I hadn't done that before lockdown.
Even the BACP has accepted and given us some guidance on it at last.
Yes, finally. Yeah.
Finally, out of 25 years too late, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. I mean, you know, we are living. I'm doing an interview this afternoon for TEDx, I think, or something, about the fact that we're all sharing anxiety with our clients. That is very unusual. That there's an outside there that's frightening for all of us, which normally, you know, people go to their therapist assuming they've sorted out their lives a bit, and suddenly we're all faced with the same thing, aren't we?
Yes.
You know, yeah, and I think it's a very, very interesting time to think about it, actually.
Well, interestingly, I'm not having many clients coming to me talking about COVID-19.
No, me either.
That some people have recognised that they need therapy as a result of having so much me time during lockdown. So their relationships have maybe taken a bit of a pounding or something like that. But they're not coming because of anxiety about COVID-19, not to me.
No, me. But what a lot of people have, what I am finding is more and more people have taken the opportunity of lockdown to look at their life and decide that this is not how they want to live anymore, and they want to know how they can, you know, change their thought patterns or live more holistically. Or for a lot of people, it's been very liberating, although there's been everything else going on around it.
Absolutely.
They've just made the decision that they will not go back living how they were.
And that's heartening. It's heartening.
Sorry?
It's heartening that, you know, this is an opportunity of a lifetime if you choose to look at it in that way. Is that so many people, I mean, there's an awful lot of people who've lost their jobs and are going through very difficult times at the moment too. I'm not knocking it. But I actually, if I'm really honest, enjoyed lockdown.
Yeah, so did I. And I also think that the economy and everything else was unsustainable the way it is. We need to find different ways to live our lives. And so, okay, this is not an ideal way of making us all do it, but really what would, if we didn't have something this catastrophic, everyone would carry on as normal. So I think it's mainly about helping people adapt, because I think the people that are going to struggle are the ones that just want to go back to normal, and this is
Never will. Never will go back to that normal. Yeah.
I know quite a lot of people that work in London and live in London and work in London. And even if they're living in London, their commute is still 45 minutes on a packed tube every morning, getting home at 8 o'clock. And their life and their well-being has just evolved now. They're not having to do that.
Yeah.
There's no way people like that are going to want to go back to crammed on packed tubes and having no time at home and work-life balance being completely the opposite way round.
No, I agree. And I think a lot of companies are rethinking as well and realizing that they don't have to have so much office space, that they can have working effectively from home. So I think there's going to be a massive change in society and reduction in stress levels for many. But I also think that unskilled workers are going to struggle. Those that can't work from home are going to be hit so much harder by this than all the other people who can work from home, who are most of their work is operating through a computer, and they can do that readily. Somebody who works in a factory on a conveyor belt, or is a delivery driver, or all of those kinds of jobs are going to struggle, because some of those jobs will disappear permanently, and we will emerge, I think, in a changed world.
But I think, having said that, because most things are going mail order based, it just evolves. Just so the unskilled work just becomes different, and things still need to be manufactured. So
People have got to go through that transition, and it's tough. They're having a really tough time now, aren't they? You know, finding maybe that they no longer live in an area where work is available or whatever. And none of us know what the change is going to be.
I think that's the biggest problem, isn't it? There's been no real guidance. It's all been a bit wishy-washy and a bit reactive, and that's caused more anxiety than it needs to be. Yeah.
And as much as I'm not a Conservative, and I don't think a lot of Boris Johnson, all of them are working in the blind, just, you know, just as much as we are. They don't. They're having to take a punt and guesswork half the time, because there is no precedent for this in living memory.
No.
So no, I don't envy them their task one little jot. I'm glad I'm not the person making any of those decisions, and communicating and then changing it the next day as they realise they've made a boo-boo and all of that stuff. Because I don't envy them that.
I think in one, sorry Claire, I think in one way it's temporary. It's really nice to work from home, working from a computer. Companies are saving money. We are spending more money in electricity, toilet paper, because we are not using their toilets. And it's really good, especially for women, because they can have time for their children. That's perfect. But at one moment, people will miss socializing with colleagues, meeting new people, making new friendships. How important is to work outside home? I work from home, but I also have a part-time job, because I was missing to socialize with people. And I don't want to give up that. I want to have my part-time job where I go out, where I'm meeting new people, but I also want my business at home, where I'm with my family. But for now, since lockdown, since March, I'm working from home too. And I'm really missing socializing with other people, because Zoom is really good, but it's different. Until when I will be capable of meeting new people only from Zoom. Right?
They interviewed a whole lot of kids last night, because they're going back to schools, when little tiddlers, 8 and 9-year-olds, and every single one said nobody missed doing maths. That's obvious. Said that they'd missed their mates, because thought about my grandchildren, 2 of them, they haven't seen another one of their mates for 5 months. And actually they haven't been phoning them, which is interesting, because we as grown-ups, I phone my mates how are you doing, you know. And obviously, Linda, you've been amazingly busy writing books or whatever you're up to, but we communicate with our mates. The children haven't. And
it's been tough on them, hasn't it?
That's true.
Well, she's starting a brand new school this morning, because she's 11, and Dexter is still going back to his normal school. But I suddenly thought, these poor little kids, because that's what you go to school for, to hang out with your mates, right?
Lots of kids have been very traumatized by this. And just my experience as well, the ones that I know have not wanted to go onto Zoom or phone them. They haven't spoken to them since lockdown. It's very interesting. And they are very traumatized by it. The behavior is different. I've seen more outbursts and temper and trauma responses in children. And adults as well have been traumatized by this. So you're right, we do need social connection, and we don't get it through social media or Zoom in the same way. And I'm thinking that probably what a lot of companies are going to do is bring people in sometimes, but not all the time. And that will, I mean, particularly if you're thinking about London commuting, it's going to involve knock on to a lot of other industries. So those that buy an annual season ticket, for instance, are not going to want to buy an annual season ticket if they only have to go into the office 2 days a week. So the rail companies and the bus companies are going to be hit by this because they're going to have to be more adaptable. And that's just one tiny thing we're looking at. There's going to be a massive knock-on effect to industry and business because of the different way of working. It'll take the next decade or so probably for us to adjust and for them to become. But interesting changes, and interesting that it's something like this that makes us really look at society and what we value in our lives and what we want in our lives, and that kind of little revolution that's going on at the moment, that employers have had their employees by the short and curlies for the last 2 or 3 decades, saying we demand 80 hours a week out of you even though we only pay you for 40. You will do as we say, otherwise we'll sack you. And suddenly all of that is being reframed slightly, and workers are saying it's less stressful to work like this, we want to stay working like this. And I hope that change continues to filter through and stay with us, and it forces the way we work. I'm in a fortunate position, aren't I? I'm an old bird, I'm officially retired, I can work from home. Oh, the joy. You know, lockdown for me wasn't a massive change. You know, if I was alive in the 17th century, I'd have been the old witch who lived in the woods, because I lived like a hermit anyway. So what the hell, you know, for me.
But it's been very interesting.
There wasn't a massive change, but I miss seeing my friends a lot.
You know, we worked around that really quickly, my friends and I. We worked out that I've got a friend that lives down the road, and if she sits by her house and I sit on the pavement, like we are 2 meters apart. As long as I take my gin down to hers and she's got her gin at hers, we just have to shout a little bit. The thing is, you lose your privacy because you've got 2 meters between you. Everybody's shouting, so everybody then knows everybody else's business. Everyone knows who's talking to everyone else, but you're still within somebody else's aura, and I think that's what we miss. It's that energy connection with people.
Yes. And I've set up a coffee shop in my garden. So since lockdown has lifted, friends come to my garden and we sit out in the garden. And I bought a coffee machine because I was really missing my latte. So I bought a coffee machine. So here's my coffee shop, and for various friends who like a fry up, I've become a greasy spoon as well, and we have egg and bacon. And that's been fun, and we eat that out in the garden. So I've done that, but during the first part of lockdown when we couldn't see anybody, and I really missed the hugs. I live on my own. Yes, I hug my dog, but being in physical contact with people was what I was really craving.
Yeah, I agree.
I go and set myself up in the high street and charge 50p for a hug for a minute. Getting that desperate.
I hope you're COVID friendly.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we go into, we could do one-to-ones, couldn't we, Anna? Because there's only 6 of us. If we do set that up now, then